Okay, we are live.
Hi,
Hi guys, my name is
everybody.
Hi Sharon.
Hi, Chris.
Hi guys, my name is Chris. I am an emotional intelligence coach here to help you build your emotional intelligence in easy, simple, logical, common sense ways so that you can find consistent happiness in your life.
Yeah, and if you go to chrisnewth.com, you can get his cheat codes, which are really cool. You just sign up and an email comes into your inbox every day. Highly recommend it.
Ooh,
Okay.
yes.
I'm a
Thank you.
fan. I'm a member.
Thank
Um,
you. Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. And I'm Sharon Hoffman. My superpower is guiding you to your wisdom to navigate any challenge in life or make any dream come alive. We all have that capacity within us. It's about tuning inward.
Yes. And you can if you're going to plug me, I'm going to plug you. You can go to SharonHoffmanLiving.com and get her free gift, which is it's a guided visualization on how to access more connection with yourself, and it's very it's a whole experience. You have to do it. It's hard to explain in words what happens, but just check it out, trust me.
Yes, low
Um
risk. It's free.
yes, yes. Sharon, oh, and I have to show you, and Emma's here today. This is my
Hi,
baby Emma.
oh my God,
Oh,
look at
she's
that
so
face.
freaking cute.
Oh, I
You want to
almost feel
join
like
us
I
for
could
the live
reach
stream
out and
today?
pet her.
I know, and she's as soft as she looks. Okay, so today, I have to update you
And can I
because
just say welcome to Happy and Wise,
oh
everybody.
yes, welcome to Happy and Wise. That's right. And by the way, if anyone's watching or tunes in at any point, feel free to chat us up, text, comment. And if you want to be on the show, like we've had guests in the past, even if it's audio only, you can feel free. Just let us know and we will get you a link to come on and join us so that you can chat with us, ask us questions, and join the conversation. The more, the better. Sharon, we have a topic today, which we're going to get to. Actually, we should say what it is. We're going to talk about alignment, which is hugely important for our life. But I have to update you on something I told you about personally, which
Okay.
was, but I'll set it up for the audience too, so that I can give you a little update. As people may know who have seen the show before, I moved from California to Florida. The early live streams, I was doing it from California, from my apartment in California and to help my grandma because she had hip surgery and she needed help. And while I'm here, I'm doing grandma things. And one of the things that I did last week was
I
I
know where
went
you're
to
going, Chris.
bingo. I went to bingo. And I gotta say, Sharon, bingo is not what we think it is. It is
Do
not.
tell,
Oh,
Chris.
okay. Well,
Lay it on us.
I thought that bingo was you go and you get if you get a line, you get a card, and if you get a line across, that's a bingo. If you get a
Yeah.
line up and down, that's a bingo. If you get a line diagonally, that's a bingo.
And
But
maybe if you're lucky, you win a banana. That's my concept from my dad.
That's your personal experience is winning bananas in bingo?
No,
Yeah.
just anecdotal from him.
Oh, okay.
He couldn't get me signed up with a banana for a prize.
Yeah, my grandma plays like high stakes bingo. So you're like the prizes are actually pretty decent. They're pretty like $50 a game or more. Like it can get up into the hundreds. There's $1,000 prize if you get like the right game, the right number. Anyway, but point is, bingo is much more complicated than I thought. It's much more like involved than I thought, because not only is a straight line a bingo, but four corners is a bingo. Meaning, if you're playing the game, whether you get a straight line or four corners, it's the same thing. That counts as a win. If you get four inside corners, which are not the outside ones, but the four in the middle, that's a bingo. If you get a big diamond, which is a dot here and here and here and here, that's a bingo. If you get a little diamond, which is here and here and here and here, that's a bingo. If you get a postage stamp, which is four dots on any corner of the card, that's a bingo. So there's 8 different combinations that you have to be looking out for the whole time. And of course, they're not that easy to spot when you have like random dots kind of all over your board, right? It's kind of like there's a lot
Sounds
involved.
complicated.
You have to like see through it's like a puzzle. And then not only that, that's on one card, but they play when like I got a base package and which is 15 games, 15 cards. So you're looking for eight different patterns on 15 different cards. My grandma plays 33 cards at the same time. Her sheet is so long that she has to hold her paper and like move it with one hand as she's dotting it with the other because it's like a like a 4 foot stretch of card. It's craziness.
You
Anyway,
must
and you
have
can
it
only
going on up here, right? You
she
must
absolutely
really
does.
have it going on.
And I think bingo is in part to credit that for. It's like it is basically I went and I'll tell you the update after in a second, but it is a much more it's a much more of a mind involvement game than I thought it was. Anyway, I'll just say that.
Maybe this will be a future talked about thing for preventing dementia. Everyone's looking for ways, right? Keep your brain active.
It is so active. It's so active. There's so many things to concentrate on and the time flies by when you're doing it. Anyway, I underestimated the game. I thought it was silly nonsense in a way. Like I just imagined everyone's just sitting there waiting for a straight line and then someone calls out bingo. Anyway, I went to one that's nearby the other day. This was last Friday and there was 169 people there and I won 2 of the games.
How much? $100?
Well, I won one game by myself, so that's 50, and then I won another game and someone else won it as well, so we split that one. So I got 75 total. But then because I was the first male in the room to get it, I was considered the king of the night. And so I got to pick a lucky number. And I picked 5 because that's my lucky number. And then every time a 5 was called throughout the rest of the night, I got $1 in addition. So I ended up with $80 by the end of the night. It was a good night.
I didn't know you had a lucky number, let alone that it was 5. I'm gonna just.
Do you have a lucky number?
I guess my lucky number is 8. Because
I like
8. 8 turned on its side is the infinity symbol, and I'm very fond of the infinity symbol because we are infinite. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Yeah. So, okay. Anyway, bingo is great. I highly recommend it even for younger people. And I will tell you, there's a little secret. I have a theory and I'm not totally, I mean, this is just a theory, but I have a feeling a lot of people even playing this game they're just like, there's so much to look at. I think a lot of people are missing. So I think if you go, they're missing patterns, they're missing wins. So if you go and you're actually paying attention, you're actually like zoned in, I think there's actually a decent chance that you can win because even if someone else gets a bingo before you, technically, if they don't see it, they're not going to win. You have to be able to spot it too. So anyway,
okay, I love your update.
So
I wish I had something as exciting as that. I will tell you that where I am tuned in from Mill Valley, it has been torrential downpour for days. We had a little break yesterday, but behind me, it's all rainy. It's one of those days you want to hole up inside. And Mill Valley, which is in California, just north of the Golden Gate Bridge, so San Francisco Bay Area. And for everybody who doesn't know, you're tuned in from Florida. And so I'm just chuckling as I'm seeing, like I made something warm to drink because don't you want to be cozy on a day like this where I don't know if it's rainy where you are, but no. Okay. Well, it's rainy and gusts of wind and everything. And so I made myself like this cup of tea with some almond milk froth on top. And I'm realizing as I'm drinking, I was chuckling, thinking, oh gosh, if any of my family is tuning in, they would laugh at this mug because this is this cochon mug, which is pig in French. And my mom's second husband, this was his mug. My mom and my mom's second husband are now both gone. But when they were alive, nobody was allowed to drink out of this cup because his daughter, Nina, gave it to him. And I don't know why that meant nobody else could drink out of it. But I always liked this mug a lot. And I would go to reach for it. And I found out the hard way, you can't drink out of the mug. Why? Sure. So anyway, when they were both gone and we were dividing up everything in the house, both of his kids and my siblings said, you have to take this mug. So
Okay, so now you could drink out
Never
of it
mind.
anytime you
Yeah,
want.
so I'm,
Mm.
cheers, family. I'm drinking out
Cheers.
of a
Very nice.
cochon mug.
It's a cool mug. It is a
Yeah,
very cool
isn't it?
mug. I
I
like it.
know. Yes, Nina got this for him. Yeah, little
Cute.
piglets. So anyway,
All
that's my
right.
update
Fun.
about nothing.
Well, also, let's just point out, like, sometimes it's those small things in life that are the most beautiful parts of it. So I like that we included a
Makes me
little like
chuckle.
sentimental
Yeah,
story.
why not?
Yeah.
Why not? But so on
Okay,
to like
so
meteor stuff, I
sure.
think like all arrows point to living in alignment because let's
Mm,
face it, we dig into a lot of different topics, both here on our live stream, which is now every week, 4 p.m. Thursday Pacific Standard, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And we dig into a lot of topics, but really, no matter what the topic, if it's overcoming challenge, if it's overcoming self sabotage or solving self sabotage, if it's overcoming negative thoughts, if it's designing your own most spectacular life,
manifesting the life you
manifesting.
want, finding more happiness, connecting with yourself, all these
Yes,
topics.
all
Yes.
arrows point to the starting point. Like if you were going to be playing Monopoly and you're going around a Monopoly board, like the first square is going to be lining up with the core essence of who you are for any one of us. Like
Mm,
all the magic happens from there, whether it's solving a challenge or manifesting something we want to, a dream or whatever it is. This is the would you agree, Chris? This is the beginning point. Like this is
yes.
the very first fundamental step that I think a lot of people don't realize and work super hard when there's something they
Yeah.
want and they haven't lined up. And so then it feels like hard work and they don't make a lot of progress and they wonder why, what's happening. It comes down to alignment. That's like
Yeah, alignment. And that's the theme for today. So I want to ask you, if you're watching, do you feel like you are in alignment with yourself, with your dreams, with your goals? Yeah, and when I ask that, I feel like the way I like to think about it is, are you thinking in line with yourself, with your goals, with what you want, or are you not? Are you speaking in alignment with what you want in your life, or are you not? Are your emotions in alignment with what you want them to be, or are they
and
not?
Chris, what does alignment mean to you? Like, how would you
It
describe
means
it for yourself when you like, how do you feel on the inside? What is your quality state of being, or how would you simply define it?
I keep it super simple. So for me, like alignment is anything that feels good. That could be if I'm in a loving state or a peaceful state or an appreciative state or an excited
Mhm,
state or a calm and restful state or an interested and fascinated and curious state, on any of those
mhm.
things. I just feel like me being in touch, in line with where I'm thinking and acting, making decisions, speaking from my connected place, from my heart, from my soul, from
That
where.
part. Yeah, because I think the way you first described it, there's a little asterisk by it. Because somebody
Mm,
might say,
mm.
I'm just gonna play devil's advocate. Somebody might say, well, when I shoot up heroin, I feel fantastic. You know what I'm saying? Or when
Sure.
I don't know what it is. When I do tons of drugs or I have lots of wild sex with different people at different random times, um, I feel great. There's nothing wrong with sex.
That could be a
What do you
thing that
think?
people, I guess the bottom line is, are you in touch? And this is the question to always ask, whether we're talking about any subject, is does that feel good? Not, I don't mean just a feel good. I mean, like when I say feel good, I mean, does it feel good to your heart?
Yes,
Does it
that's it.
resonate with your heart?
Because otherwise the
Yeah.
asterisk next to it is, if it's an immediate gratification that even maybe an addictive thing, it doesn't ultimately fulfill you deep in that heart space that you're talking about, Chris. So
Yeah, you have to know what your heart actually
yeah.
wants and what feels good to that. Use that. But generally speaking, when you feel a good feeling in your body, it's telling you you're in alignment with yourself, and you'll know when you're not. It's like, and we all have these moments too. I'm not in alignment 24/7. No one is. So just knowing that though is so important, because then you can actually do things about it. Are you, what you just said, what, you have a conversation with a coworker today that doesn't go the way you want it to. Was that in alignment with what you want and who you are? No. Well, then now you can do something different next time. Or if you have, if you have a belief that keeps coming up that is just does not feel good to you, well, that's not in alignment with what you want. So you might want to start shifting that
Okay,
belief or whatever.
I'm gonna pose a question to you, because this is a current,
Yeah, sure.
this is a current real life situation. I'm trying to figure out
that you're going through.
And it's a little
Great.
thing, but it's like I've been wrestling with it today. Is my desire for this a true heart's desire, or is it coming from a different place in me? Is it so? Here it is. You're gonna laugh, but most women would relate to this. I'm gonna say, okay, so in my inbox comes this Valentine's special from this chocolate company that I just love, Racuti Chocolates. They're based in San Francisco, and they have the most gorgeous, fabulous chocolates ever. And they have a special Valentine's box, and it just looks amazing. And I thought, I kind of want to send that to myself. I know. I want to celebrate.
Wait. How did you get it? Like, you're saying you
No,
already got
I'm on
it?
their mailing list.
Oh,
today is the last
I see.
day to order it, to get it in time for Valentine's Day. So I thought, no, it would be like a funny, fun thing. Like I like expressions of love. I don't buy into the whole Hallmark, let's celebrate love on this day thing. But still, I like celebrating fun things like Valentine's Day. So I was thinking, well, maybe this could be like a really great gift for myself. I mean, I would love a box of chocolates like that. And I don't think anybody, even people who know me well, they know I love chocolate. They don't really know that it's this particular box of chocolates that I would love to have. So I was thinking I could gift that to myself. Wouldn't that be amazing? But then this other part of me is like, yeah, but then I don't know if I'll have the restraint to eat like 1 or 2 pieces a day. I know myself. So am I then self-sabotaging all the great eating habits I've been having, which involve keeping out sugar, keeping chocolate minimal, So this is my dilemma, Chris. Can you help me decide whether this would be an act of living in alignment, or whether I'd be taking myself off course? Because this is the kind of stuff, right? Decision points we make around, this feels like my heart's desire on the one hand. On the other hand, it feels like it could be dangerous. So I'm not sure what to do.
Oh, I love this. Okay, so I want to give you your answer by helping you get to your answer. So I would ask you, what is the feeling inside your heart, inside your body, when you originally had the idea of gifting it to yourself?
That it's like such a special, beautiful thing that I normally would never give to myself. I've never done that in my life, giving myself a Valentine's Day present, let alone a whole big box of chocolates from this really special store. Like, that's the kind of place I'll go into the Ferry Building in San Francisco and buy like a few pieces or something. So it felt like really decadent and elegant all at the same time. Does that answer it?
Can you use a feeling? Can you kind of? I mean, special, decadent.
Celebratory.
Can you give me a feeling word? A feeling word.
Like love. It felt like an act of love. Yeah.
Ooh, okay. And then I think we often have these feelings of, it's a good feeling and it's an impulse, like, ooh, I want to do that. That would be nice. That would really, really nice. That feels good to me. And then we have this, my friend Stacy calls it back thought. Then we have this back thought of, we had the thing, and then it's like, wait a minute. Where it's that second guessing. It's that, oh, I don't know. This could be bad. This could be dangerous. This could not be for me. And I think I am big on listen to your initial intuitive feeling towards it. And then you can course correct from there. So I say, buy it, because it absolutely is a cool thing to do. And you should do it. And you should treat yourself. We should all be treating ourselves. And then you can either you can then decide, oh, I'm going to just save off this amount, and I'm going to take 3 or 4 and save them aside, and then I'm going to give the rest away. And then I can
Ooh,
just do
I
that.
don't know
Or
if I
you
want to give
can,
any away. I'm just being
okay, or
honest.
I will say worst case, you eat the box. It's one box. What does it matter? You know what I mean? In the long run, if we're looking at long run goals, like it's okay to have a
Well,
box of
here's what
chocolate in
goes
there.
through my mind is I don't want to necessarily, well, I have this great love of baking and I don't want to
Mhm.
give that up. And give up all the sweets and everything. And yet at the same time, I know that
I love the bottom ticker says, should I order the box of chocolates?
yeah, you know what? If you're watching,
This
you
is a
can weigh in
dilemma.
on this. You can
Yeah.
cast a vote. Yeah, yeah, because I don't want to define love with chocolate or with
Hmm.
food. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get out of that mode. So this is why it's confusing for me, Chris.
Well, what if it's seen not as the thing it is, but as the act of treating yourself to
Yeah.
something? And this is one example of that. And treating yourself doesn't have to look like this every time. So why not, what's the harm in doing it this time like this, and then treating yourself in a different
You're
way the
right.
next time?
It's hard for me. I have this back and forth in my ping pong match in my head because part of me wants to say it's not okay because
Mm,
um, it's sort of the habit I'm getting out of with how I eat. And another part of me is like,
hmm
yeah, but there's always exceptions. And then another part of
hmm
me says, well, I'm looking at a box of chocolates as like an act of love. Is it really an act of love to order a whole big box of chocolates? And I want the
Are
big one, Chris. I don't want the little one. I can order the little one, but no, I want the big one.
I would say you can't really go wrong because if you get
Okay.
it, and even if in the off chance you eat it all in one day or whatever it is, that's going to be one time. But there might also be, because you're so good at being at continuing this practice that you've been doing for so long about your food and eating the right way
Right.
and eating the way you like, that you might even find that you have I don't like the word willpower, but that you have that conscious awareness to split it up and savor it over the course
Yeah.
of days and not go crazy with it, especially since you're so aware of
I
it.
am. I just want to set myself up for success and not bring stuff into the house that see now is that my mind getting in the way or really telling me that this is not truly an act of being living in alignment. So this is why it is confusing. This is why I'm bringing it up. It is a trivial thing, but it's all of those trivial things that add up to us living our truth or not, living really in a way that honors who we are or not.
Hmm.
So these little things are actually good things to banter around and figure out. I'm not just bringing it up glibly. Really, I'm bringing it up as a real thing that I think maybe some people can relate to. Yeah.
Sure. And like we just talked, I don't remember if it was the last live stream
Yeah.
or a couple times ago, but you were documenting your weight loss
Mhm.
journey and how you've manifested a different
Yeah.
body, and how you were doing how you're that's on your mind. It's
That's on my
active for you.
mind.
It's something that you're right. And that makes total sense.
I don't want
Here's
this
what
to
I
be an
would
act
say,
of
like, and
self-sabotage. Is this an act of
right.
self-sabotage
Yes.
or truly an act of love? And this is where I'm sitting with this teetering on this seesaw
Yeah.
of indecision.
And I could yeah, I mean, everyone can sense the split energy you have on this topic, right? It's like this versus this, and it's constantly like you bring this, and then it's just like constant. So what I follow in my own life when I have split energy is I don't make the decision
Mhm.
if I have split energy. I wait until I'm clear on it. However, that doesn't mean that you can't get clear on it in the next, half
Yeah.
hour, 2 hours, or before midnight comes and that special goes away. Like there's time to figure
Yeah.
that out.
Thank you for that. That's very wise. The other thing I want to comment about what you just said is that this happens to me a lot when I'm talking to people or people have a question on Clubhouse, for instance,
Mhm.
is they will say they're not clear, but really I can tell they're crystal clear. And I'll just sort of mirror back to them their clarity and they'll be like, oh, yeah, I am clear. And so I'm
Mm.
just wondering, are you like, this could be a blind spot for me. Are you picking up on my
Mm.
indecision or are you picking up that there actually is clarity around this?
I'm picking up that there's 1,000% split
Okay.
energy,
Okay.
like a thought, counter thought, thought, counter thought. But that doesn't mean that your initial impulse or that your that first feeling of, oh, this would be really nice was the
Yeah.
wrong one. I actually think that, on the, again, I'm looking on the outside, I don't have this particular
Yeah.
issue. And so for me, I look at this and say, well, one box is not going to hurt if she decides to eat it. Just because she gets this doesn't mean that she's going to get 14 different boxes. Doesn't mean she's going to continue bringing food into the house. This was and I think a life, like a balanced life, where you treat yourself sometimes, and sometimes that's with massages, and sometimes that's with sleep, and sometimes that's with trips to the beach and the water, and sometimes that's with chocolates. And it's okay to have a variety of them. And sometimes you go with the chocolate one. And just because you have certain goals doesn't mean you have to cut out certain things altogether. It could be a little bit of
Yeah.
everything. And then you can decide if it became a thing where you noticed you're on your 6th or 7th one and you really didn't want to, you can find ways to get rid of that at
Yeah.
that point.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate everything you're saying. And I think the thing that the light bulb for me and all of the things you're saying is really what I value a lot in this process of living in alignment is waiting for clarity. If it's not there, is waiting for the clarity to come. And that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I'm going to sit with it.
Good.
I think so often, and I'm pressuring myself, but that's false pressure, because all too often when we get uncomfortable, we just decide one way or the other to get it over with. And there's real value in sitting with not knowing, because out of that, eventually the clarity will come. And the clarity is what gets us living in alignment when we're acting from that place of clarity, right? Which for me is like this big inner yes, I'm jumping up and down, and a clarity of that's a no is just a heaviness, a thud in my gut, like this just doesn't feel right, even if it makes sense up here or makes sense on paper, you know.
Yeah.
So
can I ask you a question? Long term, like your goal for yourself or the dream life you have as it pertains to food, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, do you think that you would want to live a life where you can buy chocolate like this every once in a while for yourself?
Absolutely.
Well, then that's also, so why can't that start now? Why can't that be part of it now?
Yeah. No.
But I love the idea of waiting until you have that clarity, and based on today's subject, waiting until you're in alignment with yourself, because this is not alignment. No. This is like battling yourself, which is fine. We all do this on different topics.
And also rationalizing isn't either. Like I could rationalize, well, it's Valentine's Day, and that could be a very head-based thing that's overriding the deeper wisdom that's saying, yeah, but now you're bringing temptation in unnecessarily into your home. And and I know this about myself, I cannot like some people, I don't know if you know people like this. My grandmother was like this. You could walk into her house and there'd be like different bowls of candy sitting around. Oh yeah, game over. Game over for me. I can't have that stuff around. So this I know about myself. Yeah. We're all different.
So having that conscious awareness is good, but at the same time, it's like ultimately thinking about what you want your life to be like, and then living that now, like living it now, living what you want your future to be, the kind of things you'd like to have for yourself, and not waiting until the future to have that life. You can live it now. And I get that there's some entanglement because it's
That's
sensitive
a good word.
to this topic.
Entanglement. Yes.
Yeah. But like waiting until, but giving yourself that permission to be in alignment too. And sometimes the warning of like, oh, I shouldn't do that, or that would be dangerous, or that would be like irresponsible or whatever. Sometimes that's not like coming from the heart. That is coming from a place of, I don't trust myself. I don't think I'm going to be able to do this. And that is, I think, something to consider too. It's like those little warnings that you're getting inside. Are they really coming from your heart to warn you, or is that just your negative thinking on this topic because you've done this for a long time and you've had that come up?
These are great questions. It's why I brought it up, because it can be confusing, because food is something we can't give up. We have to have it in our lives to survive. And so it can be very tricky around what's truly in the service of living in alignment. And the sort of program I ultimately decided to do, which is based on developing habits of health that can be a lifetime new habit, um, that came out of a desire to really live in alignment. I was feeling so good on the inside, but my body was aching and creaking, and it felt like way too much weight for my frame. And I wanted my insides and my outsides to match, to be in that congruence of being in alignment in every area of my life. And so, in this particular one around food, relationship with food, it can be a tricky one to find the balance between living a lifestyle, right, for the rest of my life where I can have indulgences here and there, and being on track with the habits that really serve me, sort of freedom versus discipline, and alignment versus maybe not alignment, rationalization, or self-sabotage. So these are like kind of tricky things to navigate when it comes to the everyday aspects of living in alignment. At least they are for me. These are the things that can trip me up sometimes.
Do you feel like you, like on a day-to-day basis, feel very aware, like consciously aware when things are happening, what how you're feeling, what you're doing, the activities you're choosing to do? Do you feel like you are like your conscious awareness is pretty
Yeah,
high?
very much so. Yeah.
Yeah. Very much so. And I could tell that with you. So I would say, would it be, let's say you were on your third chocolate or fourth chocolate or whatever. Could you consciously step
And be
in
like,
that
that's
moment of
enough. I
eating?
feel really good. And
Yes. I've had four. I know that I don't want to eat more than that. I've now had four. I'm consciously now in the moment knowing this. Do you feel like that is your conscious awareness strong enough and alert enough,
yeah,
aware enough to step in that moment? Because if you can step in that moment, you could save yourself every time. You can then choose something else. You could choose to throw the rest of the chocolates away if you truly can't eat anymore. You could choose to give it away to a neighbor. You can choose to put it in the freezer for a
right.
while. You can make different choices about
Yeah.
that
You know,
uh, that in the
you're
moment.
so right about that. And in fact, while I was on this program, like in earlier days, somebody who didn't know that gave me a big box of special chocolates. It wasn't from this company, but
Mm,
it was from another company. And I was like, "Oh, danger, Will Robinson. What what do I do with this box of
mm,
chocolates?"
mm-hmm,
Because I'm
mm-hmm,
not going to tempt myself. So I put the whole thing in the freezer. And
mm-hmm.
many months later, I was like, "Oh, that box of chocolates, this feels like a good time," and I got it out.
Mm,
And so, so the answer to your question is that some even though I know what living in alignment feels like to me, it feels like I'm just in a good mood. Everything unfolds like magic in my life. Like I have happy conversations with strangers. Yesterday was a day like that. Like where just
mm,
everywhere I went, it was just some happy thing that happened. And
mm-hmm.
then other days though, I am not as plugged in to
Yeah.
my inner knowing, to my wisdom. It might be a tougher day. And
Mm-hmm.
on a day like that, even though I know all the mechanisms to get back, you know, sometimes we just have those
Mm,
days, right? We're like, ah, I
yeah,
just want to watch
totally.
movies all day, or whatever it is, you know, that
Mm-hmm.
is calls out that I don't really want to be that aware, and I don't want to do the work
Mm,
today, and I just want to have a day
mm,
off, you know, or I'm just in a bad mood and I want to let myself have that bad mood, whatever it might be. So on a day
mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
that, the chocolates would be dangerous.
I see. I see. Well, if you know that it's going to help you, I mean, if would this even be a question if this was a smaller box of chocolates? Would this even be a bit? Is this an issue because the size? You can't eat it all in one go, and you want to space it out. But if it was smaller, then it wouldn't matter. Is that what's going on?
Um, no, like I think it's well, Okay, this is just like a personality thing. I'm sort
Uh-huh.
of go big or go home. Like if I'm only gonna let
Uh-huh.
myself have the little box, screw the whole thing. I'm not gonna order.
I just wonder, like, okay, because okay, from the
Yeah,
outside, I know that if you even ate the entire box of chocolates in one go, it wouldn't be that. I mean, you could always, even if you gained weight for that reason, you could always take it off, and it's not like you're going to buy another box. So, to me, who cares? But then the question I have, or the thing I'm wondering is, could this be like the universe throwing you something to show you that you can do this? And if you did, and that intuitive, oh, that would be nice to treat myself. And then if imagine this
okay.
scenario. You got this feeling, ooh, this feels good. Oh, that would be nice to treat myself to this. I know I love this chocolate. I rarely get it. I rarely ever have it. It's a special occasion. I would like to show myself some love, appreciate myself with something nice that I know that I would value. I'm going to get this thing, and the plan, the intention is to spread it out and eat it over time, whatever. And then you get it, and then imagine you do that. Imagine you do find yourself, and then you're showing yourself that you can have certain things like this happen, and you are in control enough and aware enough to be able to do it in the way that you want to do. Because wouldn't that be amazing if you could like disprove that whole story of like, if I have food in the house,
Yeah.
I'm gonna eat it all in one go. Because that's a story, and it might have been true in the past, but it doesn't mean it's going to be true in the future. What if this is an example of you, now that you're in a different place, you're a new person today than you've ever been before. You're the most updated version of yourself than you've ever been
I
before. You're
am.
more consciously aware of anything that you've ever been before. How about this version of Sharon tries the chocolate thing, and maybe you'll be surprised with yourself and notice. And if for some reason you don't, then you know in the future, okay, I'll give it more time before I try this again.
Yeah, you raise such good points. I mean, you're reminding me of one of my very favorite quotes. It's anonymous. I don't think anybody knows who said it originally, but is that every day is a new life to the wise
Mm,
person. And
mm,
so I do want to approach life like that. Like, why do I want to assume, like you said, that the way I was in the past is the way I'm going to be today or tomorrow?
right.
Because every day is a new life. We
Right.
get to make those decisions. So nothing, just to go back to like the topic of living in alignment, like nothing is lost if
Mm-hmm.
to make it easier on myself,
Mm-hmm.
like you're saying, nothing is lost if I do overindulge one day,
Right. Right.
because we all get these do-overs. Every moment actually is a new life if you want to
Yes.
look at all there is of this
Yes.
present moment. But I'll tell you this. This is what living in alignment feels like to me. It feels really good. And if
Mm,
I overindulge in chocolates to the point where I don't feel good, then I've popped myself out of alignment. And I really want to
right.
stay in that feel good place. That's a place I
Mm-hmm.
love living where,
Mm-hmm.
everything feels alive inside of me. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Mhm. Totally.
Yeah.
And there's a version of like eating something that we like, and I'm a big sweets person. Like I love
Okay.
crumb cakes and pie, and I just got apple turnovers today. Like I love sweets. But I'm getting better, and I used to be the eat the whole box kind of person too. I used to
Ah,
eat um when I was in goes
do,
back to like even
do
high school.
tell.
I used to get, or my dad would buy me a pumpkin pie every day, a normal, a normal, whatever, a 12-inch pie or whatever a normal size pie is.
Yeah.
And I would eat half of it before school, before high school. And then I would get home and I would eat the other half. So, and this would go on for months at a time. Like my dad would just buy me another
Wow.
pie. Why he bought me pies over and over again, I can't tell you, but I ate them when he
Because you were
did.
eating them.
Yeah,
You had to
that's
replenish.
right. That's right. That's
You
right.
were growing. You probably had like rock star metabolism,
I
right?
think I still do, but yeah, that is and that
Can I
becomes
have
the
some?
I wish I could give it away because I'm trying to gain weight. So yeah, I wish
Oh,
but like that's,
I need
but
you. No, I'm just kidding.
and that's the thing though. Like
I need you with
there's a
love.
it's a curse though. It's a curse because that means I can eat all this junk, but that's not good for me. And I get health issues if I'll get kidney stones if I eat too much junk. I get
Yeah,
like
yeah.
all sorts of other
Right.
non-weight related issues. So I don't like, so I have to stop. So because I can eat anything and not gain weight, I have to be conscious of it for other health reasons.
Yeah.
And so I've gotten very good
Makes it
at being very and I think something that helps me is like enjoying in the moment, the conscious awareness of enjoying something, a treat for myself. Like, for example, I used to eat food without even thinking about it. Like, I
yeah,
would have the treat while I was thinking about something else, while I was listening to a podcast, while I was watching TV, where the eating of it I wasn't actually getting the full enjoyment of it. I was just doing it to do it. It was like almost like mechanical almost. But now I realize that if I sit to enjoy something and I actually let myself consciously be in that moment and say, "Ooh, I'm enjoying this treat. How does it taste? Oh, this tastes so good." And I actually savor it and get the thing. Then I don't feel like I have to I don't feel an urge to overeat it or eat more of
right.
it because I've satisfied that the reason why I'm doing it in the first place, which is that good taste and everything. So
Yeah,
I
I
maybe
know
that's something to
exactly
consider
what you
too.
mean. Yeah, I know
Yeah.
exactly what you mean. You're taking me back to many years ago where this exercise was done in this class that I was in,
Hmm.
meditation on a potato chip. And you took a single potato. Yeah, I
Say
know,
more.
it sounds crazy, right? You take a
Uh-huh.
single potato chip and they walk you through this process that took 10 or 20 minutes where you look at it, you smell it, you
Mm.
you really take in the sensory experience of a single potato chip, all the different ways, touching, smelling, and whatever. And then
Mhm.
I don't remember what all happened because it was a long period of time though that we're communing with a single potato chip, each one of us. And
Uh-huh.
then at the toward the very end, you take a little bite of it, like one potato chip, just a little bite out of the potato chip, and you savor every little molecule that's lit up in your mouth,
Mm.
because
Mhm.
now, because you've just been tuning into it for all this time before. And so then maybe that's the second 10 minutes is you're eating a single potato chip, one tiny little bite at a time. Yeah, I know. I mean, by the time, this is crazy, but
Yeah.
it's such consciousness. You're just
Mm.
so focused. It's really truly a meditation on a potato
Mhm.
chip
Mhm.
that you become one with the potato chip. And then, the
I know
body,
it's great. I know it does sound crazy, but it is true. Like, I understand the reason
yeah,
to do
the
it. Yeah,
concept.
yeah.
So this is a crazy thing. By the end, you're everybody felt this, so satisfied with the experience of a single potato chip that you don't even lust after any more potato chips. Who can eat only one potato chip? Okay? I
Well,
I ask you.
isn't that the thing? Like, who can eat a single chip or a single potato
Yeah.
chip? And that was that's almost like disproving that experiment of like, well, if you meditate on it enough and take your time, you can just be satisfied with one.
I mean, I suppose that would be building a new relationship with chocolate.
Do it with chocolate. Meditate
I
on the
mean, I could do
chocolate.
that with this box because I'm telling you, it is so beautiful.
Mhm.
Each piece is exquisite to look at and
Mhm.
exquisitely crafted. So I could definitely do a meditation on a single piece of chocolate and make it a big and not an unconscious act of stuffing my face, right?
Right.
So this is what
Right.
you're talking
Right.
about is when we bring awareness to anything we're doing, right? We
Mhm.
don't tend to overindulge. We can really get the high from the
Mhm.
sensory experience when we really tune into the thing and we're not just doing this, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah.
So I like
So
where
does
this
that add some
conversation is
clarity?
going. I mean, I think I
Okay.
would be in alignment if I was eating the chocolate in that way. Yeah. I
Great.
know.
Amazing. And if that's what you want your future life to be is that you enjoy this kind of chocolate sometimes, why not start now doing it?
Yeah. I mean, anything for that matter. To enjoy that
Anything for
way,
that matter.
yeah.
Absolutely.
I that's
Yeah.
really that's really special, so thank you for your words
Hmm.
all about
You're
that.
welcome. Great. I love to hear
Yeah,
it. Hell yeah. This is the practice. Like this is so nice
okay.
though. Like I love like talking about this kind of stuff too because it works. This is what what we're talking about every week here. this is what it looks like. This is what, but it's like sometimes you could do it with other people. You could do it with us too if you want to join us.
Yeah.
But like you're doing it with yourself too each day. Like you're doing it with yourself. Like, how does this make me feel? What are ways that I can get in alignment with it? How can I look at this in a different way that truly connects with my heart? Because if you truly, like in this example, we're using it because you gave such a great example. If it's like if enjoying some treats is something important to you, but also what's important to you is eating a healthy, balanced diet and staying with the routine and the that you like, that you has worked for you, that's been so effective. You can have both things. And so, like, what are things that I could do now to be in alignment with having both things? Because you want, in fact, if you look at it that way, then not getting the chocolate is not really in alignment for you in the ultimate how you want to live your life. You know
Well,
what I mean? Like, because you don't want to not get this chocolate for the rest of your
not for
life.
the rest of my life. No, it's more my question for the
Yeah.
moment. But actually, what you're saying brings up this thing I think that is worth mentioning, which is it's not a, it's more about how I respond, how I hold it. Like, I could get the box of chocolates and have it be an unconscious, self-sabotaging act, or I could get it and have it be a really loving act of consciousness based on how I tune in, right? How I am, my
Mm-hmm.
relationship with the chocolate. And even though that maybe sounds a little silly on one level, but it's like that with every single thing in life, right? When we
Yep.
really tune in to the thing, whether it's a human being or a pet or our home or whatever it might be, if we
Mm-hmm.
are really taking in the beauty of the moment and whatever it is that's in front of us, right? And we're really in conscious, loving awareness, then anything can be living in alignment. It's not like the chocolates themselves hold sway. They
Right.
don't have,
Right. Right.
it's good or bad attached to it, right? Which is what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think that that's really important actually about alignment because you can
Yeah.
have two
Yeah.
people who are trying to make a decision about exactly the same thing. And for one person, if they go one way, that's going to be in total alignment. And then the other person, if they go that one same way, it's going to be completely out of alignment.
It would not
Would
be in
not be.
alignment.
So it's
Right.
not about the
Exactly. Yeah.
thing. It's about comes back to
Right.
the feeling state inside, which is yes, this is it for me. This is
Yes.
really makes my heart
Yes.
sing. It
Yes.
lights me up on the
Yes.
inside. It's really
Yes.
about
Yes.
that. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And and then you can break it down further. Like when I think about the initial act of gifting myself this thing for Valentine's Day, or just for because it's a day of the year that I want to do because they're offering this special and I want to do that and I love this chocolate and I love everything about it. That is in alignment. And then when you say, man, but I have no restraint. If I have something in the house, then I'm going to eat it all. I'm going to overeat. That's not really in
I
alignment with your heart.
know. I'm weighing myself
That's the
down with
negative stuff
negative
spinning.
thinking. Thank you for pointing
Right,
that out.
right,
Yeah.
right,
Pun
right.
intended. You know,
Yeah,
yeah, there's a heaviness about looking at it that way. That's a story I tell myself, like you said a long time ago
right.
in this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes talking these
Mm-hmm.
things through is really helpful. Thank you. You've really helped
Totally. It's hard to see our own
us.
things, right? Like we all have a thing where we're tangled up in it, and hearing someone else talk about it. And you've done this with me in past
Yes.
episodes, whether it's like imposter syndrome or other things, like where like someone hearing someone else's perspective, especially if they're not like if that's not an issue for them, it can be so helpful and clarifying.
Yes, to have a little distance from it. When you're too close to it
Mm-hmm.
or it's been an issue your whole life, like it has been for me, this is really about breaking out of old habits and creating new ones that
Mm-hmm.
serve me for the rest of my life. And I've been doing that for the last year and a half or more. And so these
Mm-hmm.
are the things that I really want to pay attention to so that I'm living in
Yeah.
alignment with my decisions around
Yeah.
food and eating and my relationship with food. It's so we all have those areas of life that that flow really well for us. And we all have other areas of life where maybe it's always been kind of a challenge, Just we all have our own unique journey to be on.
Hmm. Yeah, totally. And I wonder, like, if you do this with the intention of, I'm going to do this in a very
Yeah.
conscious minded way, I'm going to enjoy each one of these treats
Yes.
as a thing in itself that I want to be fully in the moment when I'm doing it. You might find that by doing it that way, it's logical that you wouldn't just mindlessly mechanically eat them all in one go, and then you will disprove your old story, which then you can finally stop telling yourself, which is, if I have too much in my space or around me, that I'm going to eat it.
Yeah.
And that you'll suddenly be showing yourself, you'll be creating a new story for yourself of, if I'm mindfully, consciously doing something that I enjoy, that I like, and treating myself in certain ways, that I even can do that because I have the power and the awareness to be able to
Yeah,
do it.
that would be a beautiful new story to create. Yeah, thank you for that,
Mm,
Chris. I love
yeah.
that. It's like birthing this new way of being that gets to be my story. I don't need to hold on to the old
Hmm.
story. So it's a good example of a story that doesn't serve me and letting it go and creating the new one. Yeah, thank you. I
Hmm.
appreciate
Mm.
your words. Yeah.
Great. Great.
Well, so before
Oh,
we wrap
yeah.
up, do you have any
Yeah.
any other thoughts on this great topic of living in alignment?
Yeah, I would just say, like, and I wrote about this as a cheat code a few days ago, and it's the idea of asking yourself, like, pose the question, and this is what I'm starting to do too, is like, whatever, if you're on a line of thinking, or you just said something out loud to someone, or you've made a choice in your life one way or the other, or you decided to do something, or go in a certain direction. Ask yourself the question, is this in alignment with my heart? Is this thing I said in alignment? Is this way of thinking in alignment? Is this belief I have in alignment with my heart? Is what I'm doing, the choices I'm making, the decisions I'm making, the actions I'm taking, is that in alignment with who I am and what I want? Or is it not? And keep it very simple. Like, you'll know. If it's not, you'll know, like, something's off. Something won't feel. If it's right, if it is in alignment, it's going to be a hell yes. It's going to be like, yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm in alignment with
Yeah.
myself. But asking that question gets us conscious about all these things that we're doing, and then we can continue to do the things that are in alignment, and then anything that's not, it's okay, but it just means, let's start thinking about that in different ways. How can we make this line of thinking in alignment with ourselves? How can we make maybe it's then it's a future conversation with someone where you are in alignment, and you can even tell them that you can, or making different choices. You get to make the shifts and the changes you want once you become aware of if something's in alignment or not. So I think it's a really valid question for all of us to be asking
Yes,
ourselves.
for sure. And I would add that if the answer to that question is no, this way that I showed up was not in alignment with my truth. It wasn't my wisdom leading. It wasn't my authentic self in the mix. In fact, I lost my temper. I said stuff I didn't mean to say, that
Mm-hmm.
it's not by looking at asking the question, am I in alignment or not? If the answer is no, it's not a reason to beat ourselves up. It's actually a reason to give ourselves a lot of love and compassion and be really gentle. It's simply an invitation to shift a little
Mm-hmm.
bit toward our inner light, our inner knowing. It's just a small shift. That's all it takes. And if it feels like it can't happen in that moment or that day, to make that okay, the next thing to do would be just to simply live in acceptance with what is, knowing that tomorrow's a new day, and
Mm-hmm.
setting an intention even before you go to sleep. Let me wake up, you know, feeling really good, and tomorrow's a new day. And one final thought about that is, a lot of times I think people think the moment is lost if something goes south. We don't show up at our best. And oftentimes we can do a do-over. We can always go back to the person
Mm-hmm.
involved if it wasn't somebody we were just passing, and
Mm-hmm.
say, that conversation, here's what I wish I would have said, and go
Mm.
back and kind of say it from a place of alignment. So Those are my two
I love
thoughts,
that.
that can be post that question of, am I in alignment? Yeah.
I love that a lot. Ooh, that's a great place to end.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you. Ooh,
you,
I love
Chris.
that.
What a juicy
Great.
conversation. Anytime we get to
I
talk about
know.
chocolate.
I know.
And stay tuned. I will let you
Yes.
know. I'll let you all know on our next live stream
Oh.
what decision
Oh,
I
cliffhanger.
made.
Okay. Great. I
Yeah.
love it. And until then, you can find Sharon at SharonHoffmanLiving.com. She has a great guided visualization we talked about in the beginning, but I've done it, and I've know other people who have done it, and it's it's basically like, you sit down in a cozy place, you close your eyes, and it's almost like a meditation, but you're more actively playing with yourself in your mind and your heart, and you're kind of exploring yourself in your life, and it's very informative, very eye-opening about yourself, and it can help you lead you get in alignment. Honestly, it gets you in alignment with who you are and what you want. So check that out at SharonHoffmanLiving.com. And of course, her clubhouse rooms that she hosts every, let me try to get this right, Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific, which is 9 p.m. Eastern, and Saturdays 8:30 a.m. Pacific, which would be 11:30 a.m. Eastern. Is that
That's
right?
exactly right, Chris. Well, thank you. And
Great.
also look out for Chris to be hosting some shows on Dr. Sharon's house too.
I will be hosting some clubhouse
You
rooms
just have
as
to get the
well.
text sorted. I
So
thought that it was, but I guess it
yes,
isn't.
yes.
And also really tune in to Chris on his YouTube channel, which is Chris Newth, and check out his website. Also, like I mentioned in the beginning, get his cheat codes. That's your free thing you can sign up for on his website as well, to get all these just snippets of wisdom that you can apply to your life.
Yeah, build your emotional intelligence. It's so important, and honestly, it's not as hard as you think. It's not as what do I like intangible as you think. It's actually like very intuitive and very common sense, and it can be a lot easier than you think. But when you do that, when you understand your emotions, what they are, what they mean, what they're telling you, what to do with them, it can really help your life. I actually have see in the back of that's what you get when you sign up. You get this cool sheet. It's this, and it just tells you, it's just a reminder. And I have it for myself too, to remind myself, when you're feeling bad, go easy on yourself. Kind of like we were talking about today. When you feel good, that's when you should ponder your dreams and your goals, because you're in a good, clear-headed headspace. It's things like that. So sign up, chrisnewt.com, get the sheet, and get the emails. They're daily, walk you through all the things that have most changed my life. It's super helpful.
Great. And please join us next Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time and 4 p.m. Pacific Time. Wherever you are in the world, we're here for you. And you're always welcome to put questions for us, either in the YouTube comments or on my Facebook page. We have a dual stream happening, Sharon Hoffman Facebook page. Really, if you have questions you want us to answer, and you're also welcome to come to just put a note in the chat for us while we're live streaming, and we'll answer it, or even come up here and ask a question live. So
yeah, we would love your questions. So whenever you hear this or see this, if you have anything that you want to add, any comments or questions or thoughts, post them or comment them, and then we can talk about them in future episodes. And if you happen to be live watching, yeah, please jump on with us. We would love to have you. That would be
and
great.
ultimately, whether buying the chocolates is in alignment or not is only something I can know. But if you have some thoughts,
Only
you can
know
weigh
that.
in. I'm happy to hear from you.
Oh, great. And then we'll find out, because we'll end on this.
But
Don't tell us
I
today.
won't until next time.
Okay. Yeah,
But
don't
just
spoil
know
that.
that no matter, sometimes we ask other people what they think, like ask Chris, but always it's about what resonates within each of us. That's where the clarity comes from. That's where our own personal expertise, our inner knowing comes from, is always from tuning inward. Sometimes when we ask somebody, we want their approval, but really in that instant, sometimes when they're saying go left, we're like, oh, I really want to go right. We get clarity for what we want because they're saying the thing we don't want. So we can really utilize that, but it always comes back to what's going on inside of us.
I love that. I love saying, listen to anyone to like get the information, but ultimately you're the one who will know best what
Yeah,
decision is right
that's
for you.
that's right. So I'm going to
Yeah.
sit with all of this great wisdom you shared with me, Chris, and all the
Good.
wonderful questions.
Great.
I love it, and I love this topic. It's really really something to navigate in life. It will make all of our dreams come alive. It'll help us work through any challenge when we simply line up with our truth, with our wisdom, with our feel good place. When we line up there, everything unfolds with effortlessness.
Mm. Mm. All right, Sharon. Thank you so much for doing this. It was a great chat as always, and
Chris,
stay in alignment
yes,
until next week.
yes, in alignment from our hearts to yours. See you next time. Bye bye.